Sometimes life feels like a giant jigsaw puzzle that suddenly falls apart, as if everything that was in place starts to crumble at once. Dreams become confused. The heart feels heavy. The silence seems too oppressive, and we begin to wonder, with fear and hope mixed together, is God still listening to me? Does He still care about me? Does He see what I'm going through right now? And it is precisely in these moments, when everything seems too difficult to understand, when doors close, when people don't believe in you, when the future seems distant and the present seems painful, that stories emerge that change everything. Stories of ordinary people who faced impossible situations but chose to trust in God even without seeing any way out. Just like Daniel, a simple, faithful, and courageous man who decided to continue praying, believing, and remaining steadfast, even when the whole world seemed to be against him. Sometimes life feels like a giant jigsaw puzzle that suddenly falls apart, as if everything that was in place starts to crumble at once. Dreams become confused. The heart feels heavy. The silence seems too oppressive, and we begin to wonder, with fear and hope mixed together, is God still listening to me? Does He still care about me? Does He see what I'm going through right now? And it is precisely in these moments, when everything seems too difficult to understand, when doors close, when people don't believe in you, when the future seems distant and the present seems painful, that stories emerge that change everything. Stories of ordinary people who faced impossible situations but chose to trust in God even without seeing any way out. Just like Daniel, a simple, faithful, and courageous man who decided to continue praying, believing, and remaining steadfast, even when the whole world seemed to be against him. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. When the silence is heavy, the doors close, and the heart wonders, is God still listening to me? Daniel also lived through days like that. A righteous, faithful man, but surrounded by an empire that tried to silence his faith. Even so, he did not give up. He knelt down 3 times a day and prayed, not out of habit, not out of appearance, but because he knew prayer is the link that connects earth to heaven. Daniel could have hidden. He could have conformed, pretended, protected himself. But he chose to remain faithful, and that choice led him straight to the lion's den. Sometimes, faithfulness takes us to difficult places, but it is in these places that God reveals His power. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, the world expected the end. But heaven had already prepared a miracle, because where there is faith, there is purpose. And where there is purpose, there is victory. Perhaps today you are in your own grave. Perhaps its name is fear, unemployment, loneliness, or illness. Perhaps the voices around you are saying, "It's over. There's no way out." But remember, Daniel didn't win by force, but by faith. He knew that God doesn't need favorable circumstances. He only needs a heart willing to trust. Even when the world rejects you, even when time seems to drag on, keep praying, keep believing, because prayer is what transforms the impossible into a path. Daniel didn't ask to be taken out of the den. He simply trusted, and God didn't take him out from among the lions. He shut their mouths. That's faith. It's not about running away from the storm. It's about standing firm in the midst of it. It's not about waiting for an easy miracle. It's about believing even when everything seems lost. The same God who was with Daniel is with you now. He hasn't changed. He still answers prayers. He still moves the impossible. The world may try to silence you. Pain may try to paralyze you, but your faith is the key that opens doors in the invisible. Every tear that falls, every prayer you say in silence, is heard in heaven, and perhaps you won't see the result today, but God is already at work. He is already preparing deliverance, just as He prepared it for Daniel. But He won't destroy you. The lion may roar, because there's a greater purpose in everything you're experiencing. Kneel down, pray. Even if it seems like no one is listening, even if the sky seems silent, remember, Daniel prayed and heaven moved. And when God enters the story, the den is transformed into a testimony. Your faithfulness will take you beyond fear. Your faith will shut the mouths of lions. And your God, the same God who saved Daniel, will honor you before all. Don't give up. Your prayer has power, and your miracle has already begun. And when you feel too weak to go on, remember Daniel, who even surrounded by lions, even afraid, even without knowing what would happen the next day, decided to trust in God, because he understood that faith is not about waiting for problems to disappear, but about continuing to believe even when they are right in front of you. Perhaps today you are going through something difficult. Perhaps your heart is weary. Perhaps you feel that no one understands what you feel, but know one very simple and very true thing. God has not forgotten you. He has not closed His eyes to your pain. He has not turned His back on your story. And even when everything seems silent, He is working in places you cannot yet see. Keep praying. Even if it seems like nothing is changing, keep believing. Even if the world says it's impossible, keep walking. Even if your steps are small, because sometimes the greatest miracles begin with simple steps, with silent prayers, and with a heart that decides not to give up. And just as Daniel saw the lions fall silent, you too will see your fears diminish, your problems lose their power, and your tears transform into testimony. Because when someone chooses to trust in God, even that which seemed impossible begins to change. So, never think that your story is over. Never believe that your pain is the end. Never let fear be greater than your faith, because the same God who cared for Daniel is caring for you now, holding your hand, protecting your path, and preparing something much greater than you can imagine. And even if you don't see the result yet, stay strong, keep trusting, keep praying, because your miracle is not far away. Your victory is being built, and your faith, however small it may seem, is capable of silencing lions and opening paths where before there was only fear.